I'm here in Kananaskis country where more visitors means more graffiti and people wanting to leave their mark here when they're hiking and camping, from painting rocks to carving names in trees and even tagging mountaintops. And that's becoming a big problem for park rangers.
Okay, and here's an example of a large boulder that now we essentially can't remove. So the only option with this one is to remove the graffiti with chemicals in order to pull that off, or another option is to paint over it, neither of which is ideal in a provincial park. Really, we want visitors to enjoy these places but leave no trace. So that means you don't need to leave a mark that you were there, you don't need to take anything home. Just enjoy being out in nature for nature's sake and not having to leave a "you were here" notation somewhere. Our visitation has increased. We're now seeing 4.5 million visitors on average to the provincial parks in Kananaskis country. And with increasing visitation, then you definitely have an increase in graffiti. Definitely seeing an increase in that idea of leaving a mark is like a trendy thing to do. We actually see all kinds of forms of graffiti. Paint on rocks, so painting rock faces, painting big boulders. We've seen paint on trees. We've actually seen people carving into trees. Rock cairns, excessive rock cairns. Rock cairns have a purpose if you're helping people navigate, but as far as a feature to leave so that you've been there, that really adds no value to the natural landscape. And so it's like this constant battle. So these are some examples of what we're seeing with small rocks being painted and left behind.
And how often would you see these?
Oh, all the time. And these are definitely increasing. I think there's certain trends that maybe catch on because of social media that provide an avenue for people to normalize certain types of behavior. We end up having a lot of staff and volunteer time spent on trying to remove graffiti, because if we don't remove it, it leads to more graffiti. We have had examples where we have ancient pictographs and we've had people graffiti the rock face immediately adjacent to those pictographs, which then is a real challenge for us if we have to remove that graffiti in a sensitive way without damaging the pictographs. When it comes to removing graffiti, we have a core group of volunteers that go out and take care of some of our real difficult projects, because I consider them to be the experts at graffiti removal. We also have our staff that carry graffiti removal equipment or tools with them, and in some cases we actually can cause damage in trying to remove graffiti. Unfortunately, we're finding graffiti in a variety of locations, so it could be in front country locations like day use areas, trailheads and campgrounds, but we're also seeing it in remote backcountry areas, even so much up to the summit of mountaintops. When you're traveling in parks and when you're traveling in a natural environment, you kind of want to feel like you're exploring it for the first time, and maybe you don't need reminders that 10,000 people have been on that trail this summer. And it's nice to know that you're kind of an explorer yourself.